What the f is this, better?
This is the painting you asked for, sir.
Why is my dick so small?
But that's the size it is in the photo.
Get this guy out of here! I'm gonna sue you! I'm gonna sue both of you! Hey, Satan!
I don't want to right now.
What? Hey, relax! Come on, Satan, I've been working hard all day!
You haven't been working, you've been doing your stupid memes and just f***ing around.
It's f***ing hilarious.
Headlines lit up overnight as South Park unveiled its latest jab. A golden silhouette in bed with Satan, sparring over memes and ego. Joe Rogan's laughter quickly spread online, raising the question, when does cartoons stop being entertainment and start reflecting reality? What you're about to hear isn't made up. It's taken right from what aired. We just line it up so it makes a little more sense. So, keep around. We are together going to next part soon.
Hey, Satan!
I'm not in the mood right now. Another random commented on my Instagram that you're on the Epstein list.
The Epstein list? Are we still talking about that?
Well, are you on the list or not? It's weird that whenever it comes up, you just tell everyone to relax.
I'm not telling everyone to relax. Relax, guy!
South Park pushed the line further than ever, mocking both power and the media that profits from it. The laughter on screen quickly gave way to outrage off screen, and the political stage wasn't about to let it slide. If moments like this keep sparking headlines, stay tuned. Subscribe now so you don't miss the next chapter as it unfolds.
Who survived the wilderness and gave the ultimate sacrifice? When things heat up, who will deliver us from temptation? Donald J. Trump. No matter how hot it gets, he's not afraid to fight for America.
South Park released a deepfake PSA showing a nude Trump wandering the desert. That was apparently the final straw. The official White House response came swift and furious. Press Secretary Taylor Rogers told Variety, "This show hasn't been relevant for over 20 years and is hanging on by a thread with uninspired ideas in a desperate attempt for attention."
From blurred jokes turned into characters to desert visions gone viral, the satire kept escalating, leaving audiences to wonder how far the parody would push next.
Just eat the bread and listen. I didn't want to come back and be in the school, but I had to because it was part of a lawsuit and the agreement with Paramount.
The president's suing you?
The guy can do whatever he wants now that someone backed down, okay? Eat the bread, eat the bread. You guys saw what happened to CBS? Yeah, well, guess who owns CBS? Paramount. You really want to end up like Colbert? You guys gotta stop being stupid.
We can't understand you.
Just shut up.
South Park wasn't just poking fun at a figure. It dragged Paramount into the frame, mixing bread and lawsuits in ways that made satire feel uncomfortably close to corporate drama.
Now, as we all know, Donald Trump doesn't like being mocked, but unfortunately for him, he's not very smart. So he gets mocked quite a lot. Basically, Trump is always the butt of the joke. But it's the White House bedroom scene that sent shockwaves. Trump, animated and exaggerated, climbs into bed with Satan and pleads, "Come on, Satan, I've been working hard all day." When he throws off the covers, Satan looks down and deadpans, "I can't even see anything! It's so small!"
Gasps turned into laughter as the bedroom scene unfolded. A mix of shock and comedy, so the question is, were viewers laughing at satire or squirming at truth?
President Donald Trump is throwing a full-blown tantrum after South Park opened its new season by absolutely torching him with scenes so wild, even Satan gets involved. The season 27 premiere centers around Trump cracking down on free speech, suing anyone who dares criticize him.
Meanwhile, South Park dialed the satire up another notch, turning a tantrum into full-blown spectacle, and the crowd's uneasy laughter made it feel less parody, more late-night headline.
The White House obviously was not pleased with the episode. They issued a statement saying the show Paramount just dished out $500 million for, quote, hasn't been relevant for over 20 years, is hanging on by a thread with uninspired ideas in a desperate attempt for attention.
By then, the spotlight had shifted from the screen to the press room, where the White House fired back and audiences laughed at just how rattled the response sounded.
In reality, the timing couldn't be worse for the White House. The South Park episode dropped just as creators Trey Parker and Matt Stone signed a massive new deal with Paramount, including 50 new episodes and full streaming rights on Paramount+. So while the Trump administration insists the show is irrelevant, it looks like South Park just did what it does best: mock the powerful, rile up the right, and break the internet doing it.
South Park's latest episodes have gone viral, turning satire into a sharp tool. Mocking power, stirring outrage, and proving irrelevance was the last thing on screen. The question is, which secret unravels next? Keep watching, the answer's coming.
Did you see the South Park episode?
Which one?
They did a Donald Trump one with Satan.
No.
It's f***ing hilarious.
I got it. I love the show. Is fantastic. I raised my 3 boys on that show, much to my wife's horror.
As satire spilled from screens into protests and parody, the laughter spread beyond South Park, landing right on Joe Rogan's mic for everyone to hear.
When you think, like Bridget Fedesi had a funny quote, like when you think that they have reached the bottom of the highest level of not giving a f***, they reach unseen levels. Is it... The Epstein thing is so crazy.
Yeah.
Like, and him saying, like, what do you care? Why does everybody care about Epstein? Like,
well, that's it. Yeah, but it is.
And just like that, South Park's chaos jumped from the screen to Rogan's mic, his laughter spilling out while audiences leaned in, amused that even he couldn't resist.
They go to Matt and Trey and they say, we want you to go full-time South Park, mock Donald Trump, make him look bad. And they went, why? And they were like, we will pay you a lot of money. What's a lot of money? We will give you 30 million a year. We don't need 30 million a year. 50 million a year. Guys, we're rich. We don't need 50 million a year. Okay, 100 million a year. And they're like, honestly, what am I going to do with that? How about we give you 1.5 billion over 5 years? And then Matt and Trey were like, really? I imagine they were like, what do you want to do it? We want shock content that mocks Trump. I don't know, give me $1 billion. Done.
Rogan's tone shifted from laughter to sharp critique, pointing at the endless depths of satire. Audiences reacted with that mix of shock and uneasy amusement South Park thrives on. And that was just the beginning, because the harder they tried to dismiss South Park, the bigger it trended, and the laughter only grew louder.
Colbert gets canceled because they were spending $40-50 million a year on anti-Trump commentary. But this straight-laced goody two-shoes BS does not work. They've been talking about how they need a liberal Joe Rogan forever. I'm willing to bet that these prominent liberal billionaires and corporate types were like, listen, why do people like Joe? Because he's edgy, he's off the cuff, he'll say things you're not allowed to say. How do we do this? Well, Colbert ain't it. Colbert is straight-laced and boring. It's on the nose. The South Park guys, $300 million per year they got in this deal.
Wow.
How does something like that happen?
By contrast, while Rogan laughed along, other voices bristled, framing South Park's billion-dollar deal as bias, even as the show mocked its own parent company on screen.
Colbert gets canceled because they were spending $40-50 million a year on anti-Trump commentary. But this straight-laced goody two-shoes BS does not work. They've been talking about how they need a liberal Joe Rogan forever. I'm willing to bet that these prominent liberal billionaires and corporate types were like, listen, why do people like Joe? Because he's edgy, he's off the cuff, he'll say things you're not allowed to say. How do we do this? Well, Colbert ain't it. Colbert is straight-laced and boring. It's on the nose. The South Park guys, $300 million per year they got in this deal.
Wow.
How does something like that happen?
At that point, frustration spilled into comparisons late-night hosts labeled dull, while South Park's edge drew gasps and laughter. But was the outrage really about comedy or about losing influence?
So the episode didn't just target Trump. It did go after its own parent company, Paramount, over the merger that was just approved and what happened to Colbert. So that merger gets approved today. So this was last night. So just on the eve of it, they said this.
You guys saw what happened to CBS? Yeah, well, guess who owns CBS? Paramount. You really want to end up like Colbert? You guys gotta stop being stupid.
We can't understand you.
Just shut up. we're going to get someone who has the power of the presidency and also has the power to sue and take bribes, then he can do anything to anyone. It's the president, dude. All of you.
Okay, I guess maybe I know the answer to this, but who exactly is South Park talking to?
South Park turned its sights on Paramount, timing the jab with merger headlines. Gasps mixed with nervous laughter as viewers weighed profit, power, and the messy backdrop behind the satire.
You know, everybody kept texting me saying, oh, don't watch that new South Park, that's gonna make you mad. And I got a good sense of humor, and I said, shit, it's been a while since I've been mad. It's been at least 20 minutes. So I turned it on, and that's pissing me off. South Park's not funny no more. And I'm not one for subtlety, nuance, and satire.
While Paramount felt the sting of parody, the wider story was undeniable. South Park wasn't shrinking. It was trending, louder than the pushback could hope to silence.
Look at the Google Trends. I mean, look, Donald Trump wants this to go away. He obviously hates South Park. But the American people are infatuated with the story. Look at this. Google Trends for South Park up 670% versus last week. It is the top topic searched with Donald Trump this afternoon. And I will note another person they one time put in bed with Satan was Saddam Hussein. Not exactly the comparison I think Donald Trump wants.
But that was the top two. When
you
Trump plus something is Trump plus South Park.
Turns out, when some said nobody cared, the internet proved otherwise, searches exploded, old punchlines resurfaced, and people couldn't stop talking about South Park again. Don't change the channel, stay with us. We'll be back with more clips, more context, and the moments you won't want to miss.
Just yesterday, but they're standing up to Trump and they're risking, you know, in many respects, we don't know what the context of their agreement is with Paramount. What they're doing, it's, you know, could be somewhat risky, and it's showing a lot more courage.
Commentators noted the risk, yet the audience read it differently, seeing the satire as defiance. Proof it still dared to punch harder than expected.
Going back to South Park, once they did the Woodland Creatures episode all those years ago, you thought, okay, that's got to be the worst they can get.
Which one was the Woodland Creatures?
Oh my
one?
God, you got to look it up. It's fantastic. I'm not going to do it justice if I try to explain what it's about.
Well, remember when they did the gay teacher where you had a with Paris Hilton, they stuffed her up his ass.
This was the other one.
Oh, God.
Critters. They're all cussing and.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
They don't give a.
No,
they haven't given a since the beginning, and it's the greatest show of all time.
Yeah.
From Woodland Critters to celebrity takedowns, the pattern was clear. This show never pulled its punches, and audiences laughed knowing today's target was hardly the first.
And it's so interesting, too, to think about the role. Like, it's such a classic thing about comedy and, like, making fun of the leader of the country on, that's what being a free society is. It's like, if you're not in a free society, then you can't have people making fun of the leader of the country on primetime shows. And if you're in a free society, like, that's the thing that we have and we take for granted. And, like, again, God bless the folks at South Park for, like, reaffirming that fundamental right.
100%.
The reminder landed simply. In a free society, mocking leaders is part of the culture. Laughter in this case doubled as proof that satire still matters.
We're living in a nascent authoritarian state. You're seeing people being intimidated. You're seeing the level of corruption just play out nakedly. I mean, you mentioned earlier, Donald Trump's former defense attorney is going to negotiate a deal with Ghislaine Maxwell. It's just absurd, but it is what an authoritarian country and society is. And, it's not hard to find people who say, like, I'm flying out of the country. I'm not sure if I should strip my phone of critiques of Donald Trump. I mean, this is something that, 15 years ago we would have joked about. And thought impossible.
The contrast hit hard while commentators warned of creeping authoritarianism. Viewers saw parody expose what politics tried to hide, laughing nervously at truths once thought impossible.
Donald Trump might hate being mocked, but he tends to invite it with just how delusional and butthurt he really is.
This came from us? Yes. I don't know who does that. You're including the Martin renovation. You just added
our entire capital.
Yeah, you just added in a third building. Is what that is. That's a third building.
I guess the news there is that Donald Trump got Jerome Powell to wear a hard hat, but the real scoop is that Jerome Powell, in real time, failed to be humiliated by Donald Trump by putting on his glasses, reading the document Donald Trump pulled out of his pocket, and making a fool out of Donald Trump for getting his facts wrong about the cost of multiple buildings being renovated.
Miscalculated numbers, failed props, and tantrums on display all flipped into punchlines, with audiences laughing louder each time the spotlight slipped out of Contro. What these episodes revealed is that satire is no longer just entertainment, it's a cultural verdict. South Park's return didn't merely lampoon one golden figure. It underlined how power crumbles once it loses control over image. The surge in Google searches, the viral clips, and the laughter echoing across podcasts all point to the same conclusion. The audience has already ruled. From past comparisons with Saddam Hussein to present-day skits that rattle press secretaries, the pattern is consistent. When satire goes viral, it stops being a punchline and becomes a judgment. And in that judgment, the stage, the crowd, and the culture all align. The loudest voice isn't coming from the podium anymore, it's coming from the laughter that refuses to be silenced. This video features real public footage, media appearances, and direct quotes for the purpose of commentary and political satire. It fully complies with YouTube's community guidelines and adheres to fair use standards under US copyright law. If you're still laughing and not crying, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Let's keep the jokes sharp and the truth sharper.